Happy New Year and cheers to 2025. If you're curious about what's ahead this year in the real estate market, you definitely want to stick around. Today, we're going to look at some bold predictions in this crazy world of real estate that I have come to love so much for this new year of 2025. And we're also going to take a look back over some of the data for 2024. And it starts right now. Welcome back to Real Estate in the 757. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and a happy new year. There's no doubt about it. Last year was a hard year in real estate. Inventory was at an all-time low for about the first quarter of 2024, really almost the first half of the year, which held back the total sales volumes. Buyers were nervous to pull the trigger because of the interest rates creeping back up, and they kept waiting, hoping that the rates would take a nice dip, which never happened. Things really slowed down across the board, pretty much across the country. But as 2024 continued on, more buyers started coming to grips with the new reality of where the interest rates were. The shock, that initial shock had kind of worn off, and people settled into the rates, and buyers who were ready began to get back out there. Rates did finish off better in 2024 than they did at the end of 2023, but those crazy low rates down into the 3% range are gone and more than likely won't be back. But while they may never get that low again, could they possibly come down some this year? There's talk of rates coming down a little bit every year since I changed careers almost 5.5 years ago. I have watched Brian Buffini's bold predictions. He loves pulling all the data with the top experts in our field, and his predictions are typically pretty accurate. This year, he once again had Dr. Lawrence Yun join in to discuss where they think our current market is headed. And Dr. Yun is the chief economist and oversees the research group at the National Association of Realtors. The number one question I get, what do you think is going to happen with the rates? So I think it's best to start there. Dr. Yoon predicted that the new normal for rates will fall to around 6%, might drop just below 6%, possibly a little above, but he doesn't believe we'll be back at the 7 to 8% range that we had previously crept up to. Brian Buffini agrees, saying he thinks we'll hover somewhere between 5.8% to about 6.2% for our new normal as we get a bit further into 2025 and even into 2026. It would be absolutely incredible to see rates drop down over this first quarter to half of 2025. We're also seeing people opt to buy down their rate by paying points if they can. So side note, if your credit score isn't as strong as you'd like, there are things you can do to give it a boost in as little as 3 to 4 months. I think another video with my go-to lender is needed to discuss the ways one can build their credit and also what buying down a rate with points even means. So if that interests you, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss the other videos to come. And also, what other questions do you have for me or my go-to lender? Drop me a comment and we'll get you an answer. But regardless, we absolutely will keep a close eye on those rates and continue to update everyone from time to time. Another big prediction is that we will see more and more inventory continue to become available this year and into 2026, which will be, really encouraging to see, especially after how everything greatly slowed way down last year. Dr. Yoon predicts we'll see about a 9% increase in existing home sales and about an 11% increase in new construction home sales. More inventory means more options for the buyers. So I love this. I have to keep an eye on absorption rates to see if we shift into more of a buyer's market. For now, we are still currently in a seller's market here in my area of Hampton Roads. And when it's a seller's market, there are less homes on the market, but there are more buyers interested. Sometimes that can lead to multiple offers for the sellers. In a buyer's market, generally there are more homes on the market, but there's less buyers, meaning that the buyer has that upper hand and could potentially get a better deal as a result. We've been in a transition for some time, having less inventory, but also less buyers, but it hasn't yet shifted into that buyer's market, not here anyway. If we do begin to shift more towards a buyer's market, it will be even more critical for you sellers to get your home truly parade ready to hit the market to better attract the buyers to your home over others. Another thing Dr. Yoon and Buffini discussed was how we're starting to see this pent-up demand due to how things slowed down. This pent-up demand has been building, and people are getting ready to come back into the market. People are making job changes, are relocating as a result. You've got growing families desiring to move as they outgrow the current home. And some have gone through a divorce or death of a spouse, which is bringing about some hard changes. And then some have hit retirement and are ready to downsize. All of these big life-altering changes lead to someone being ready to buy or sell a home. We actually saw a rise of older adults making a move, with 73% of buyers not having a child under the age of 18 in the home. And then 77% of sellers also did not have a child under the age of 18 in the home. That's a huge pool of older demographics out for some big changes. We've also seen a rise in multi-generational homes. I've seen a rise in this personally. I've worked with buyers looking for a home that can accommodate an ailing parent. And I currently have a clients who purchased a home that will house 3 generations together, and all of them adults. Isn't that amazing? It was quite a bit of a challenge, yet we found the perfect home where they can each have their own space to spread out and the privacy that they each desire and need. There are still those of you waiting, wanting to hit the market just at the right time. But let me tell you, trying to time the market for that magical moment to sell at its height or buy at its lowest, kind of getting that deal, is kind of like trying to hit a target with a blindfold on. Next to impossible. My advice is to do your due diligence, be realistic about those home prices, and know what your budget should be so you can make informed, wise decisions. Research the areas of interest and get out there. Have a solid agent to assist you and advocate the best deal possible for you. But outside of that, the right time to buy or sell is when it's the right time to buy or sell for you, period. Could one of those life-altering changes be in the mix for you in 2025? Is your house bursting at the seams, or is it time to downsize or move closer to those grandchildren? Maybe you're in a hard shift personally due to divorce or a death in the family, but whatever the reason, give me a call. Let's discuss in depth your needs and develop a strategy so you're ready and set up for success, whatever the reason may be. You can give me a call, text, or email, and we'll get a Zoom call scheduled to discuss your specific circumstances. Hey, there's no obligation. It's completely free. It's just consider me a resource who's happy to answer any and all of your questions so that you're prepared and know what those next steps are. Yes, you can sell or buy, and yes, I can help. Happy New Year and cheers to all that 2025 has to bring your way. Until next time.